California pianist Rebeca Mauleon has been called a leading lady of Latin jazz.
I started playing classical music as a young child, and when I heard Afro-Cuban music, I instantly knew that that was what I wanted to do. So when I started playing piano seriously, I was actually playing Cuban music, very traditional Cuban music. And over time, I started hearing more Latin rock and more jazz, and that started to seep its way into my playing. So eventually, I think I'm a sort of byproduct of all of those influences.
Today, she's at the Berkeley Jazz School, jamming with a couple of her favorite local musicians, percussionist Orestes Volato and bass player Gary Brown.
A lot of what happens on that stage is collective improvisation. And that's at the helm of African music, of Spanish music, of Asian music. It's about everybody kind of getting together and communicating. And that's the magic for me.
There's honesty in the music. We play the tunes 5, 10 times, and they always come out a little different because of the improvisation and the looseness that she allows the musicians to have.
My years growing up in San Francisco's Mission District in the 70s, one of the most influential artists was Carlos Santana. This was the sound that was in the air. This was the soundtrack of our lives.
As Rebeca started playing professionally, she performed with Carlos Santana and other musical idols like Tito Puente and Chucho Valdez.
I think maybe this needs a piano solo a little bit later on.
Lately, Rebeca has been immersing herself in the more solitary work of a composer.
So I start with my percussion tracks, then I'm going to add a bass line.
She's creating music based in Latin traditions for software games by Electronic Arts.
My work as a commissioned composer and a producer of music for electronic software companies is really diverse, and it's really some of the more exciting music that I'm writing these days. And a lot of the music for video gaming in general is produced digitally. There's very little kind of going into a major studio and having a whole string orchestra like you would on a film score.
Working on her own, Rebeca must play all the instruments, some live, some electronically.
It's very private, meticulous work, but it also affords me the luxury of staying with my kids, which I love to do. I have these 2 wonderful sons. My oldest, Alex, who is 12, is a completely self-taught drummer. I didn't want to be a showbiz mom and force my kids to be musicians. It just seems to be a natural extension of their DNA, I guess.
Over the years, Rebeca has become a recognized scholar, writing some of the essential texts on Latin American music. She has a deep understanding of where and how this music was born.
I think the acknowledging of the African roots in all of the modern Western music is crucial. First of all, because we need to honor that history. And second of all, we need to do justice to those people who were disregarded. And when we talk about jazz, when we talk about salsa, when we talk about rumba, when we talk about cumbia, we have to talk about music of African origin.
On a research trip to Cuba in the 1990s, Rebeca took part in a seminar at a music high school. found an abundance of talent and a shortage of resources.
My relationship with the School of the Arts in Cuba started off in coordinating instrument donation. Despite all of the, lack of material items, the music emanating from that place was surreal. You'd be walking down this path and there would be this trumpet, some young kid practicing off by a palm tree, playing a Miles Davis solo. And I was instantly taken with the extraordinary level of focus on music education.
Back home, Rebeca is troubled by the lack of funding for the arts in the schools.
It's a travesty, that music and dance and other art programs were cut. I mean, as an educator, I'm, appalled at what I get in the classroom.
There's no clave in this music.
People who don't understand rhythm, who don't understand the concept of musicianship and musicality, or perhaps want to come at it a later life because they didn't get it when they were in, grade school and high school.
One of the drums pretty much just keeps time, and the other one is answering.
In her classes at San Francisco City College, Rebeca takes her students on a tour of Caribbean music traditions.
This music has really become one of the most important, vital forms.
Rebeca's recent CD release concert at Yoshi's was packed on a Monday night. In the fall, the San Francisco Jazz Festival will honor her with their Beacon Award for devoting her talents to this vital music.
I know I have miles to go. I mean, I by no means felt like I've arrived, You're just constantly striving. There's always that vision of what you want to be as a musician, and every time I turn around, I've learned something new.